Hi everyone, welcome to Adobe Live. We will be live for 2 hours to talk about experience design, UX design, and Adobe XD. And this is a special show because, so I'm Michael, I work for Adobe, but Danielle and Talin, they also work for Adobe. So this is the Adobe show, the Adobe takeover. Maybe you can introduce yourself. Danielle.
Yes, so I'm Danielle, an experienced designer here at Adobe. I work on a team called Design Lab, and we basically aren't tied to any current product teams, look like 3 to 5 years out and sort of think about what's next for Adobe. So that's really fun, just sort of
the trendsetters.
with, yeah, some ideas, yeah, always trendsetting.
The R&D, the R&D development.
Sort of, yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Sort of an in-house incubator here at Adobe.
Awesome. All right.
Talin, how are you?
Michael, it's so nice to be.
not
Michael
the
knows
first
who I
time
am. No. Yes. Yeah, I'm Talin Wadsworth, and I'm the lead designer for Adobe XD.
Yeah, look at how the whiteboard fits in the decor. You see that? It's a real whiteboard. It's not.
No, this is real.
It's not fake. See, we can move this one. So we will use it. So yeah, so Talin, you design Adobe XD every time there are new features. And,
yes.
We were talking about Inception because when you design a new feature for Adobe XD, you use Adobe XD. Okay, and today with the help of Danielle. So we have 2 hours. We want it to be very interactive. I see Jay Christ in the chat. Team Anvey, thanks for joining. The background looks great. Thank you, Roddy, for the feedback. Hi, Melissa.
And transported to the design cabin.
Yeah,
the design lodge.
If you have feedback live, because we are shaping together the future of XD, and this is the case since the beginning, actually, of the adventure with XD. This morning I was showing user voice, and how they can feedback.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's do it. So what is the plan? What is the menu?
So
for today?
Michael, you and I did a really cool thing last year.
Oh yeah.
Where we, with the chat, we designed a feature for XD in XD live over 3 days.
Yeah.
And Danielle is one of my favorite designers, and she was an early user of XD. We've never been able to work on something together, so we decided to pull her in and get some added firepower and design another new feature for XD in XD.
Okay, I like it. I hope you like it. Oh, they want some leaks.
Well, see, we're designing the future.
Yeah.
So
right
chat,
in front of you, right
we want to know what types of things you want to see in XD.
Yeah.
And then we're going to design something. Might not be for like next month or next year, but something, like we're gonna design the future of XD today. So we need your help, chat.
We need your input.
So, and actually, I brought along our old project too.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Just so we can check in with that.
Yeah.
So yes, indeed.
Talin screen.
All right. So last time, Michael, you and I were here, and we designed what we called Project Chameleon, named by the chat.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly. So one of the things that I really like, one of my favorite features from Illustrator. I don't know, Danielle, if you ever used this, but replace color was one of my
recolor
artwork. That's what it's called. See, I don't even know the name of it. I loved it, but
it's Chameleon.
Yeah, no, and it was really hard to use. But it was something that I used like all the time to just I'd have my design and I wanted to see some different colors very quickly. And so we decided to take that great feature from Illustrator and make it better inside of XD. And so we created Project Chameleon. And so this is our prototype that we designed here, you can see, in XD. So here we are designing XD in XD. And this prototype was all about how can I quickly just try some different colors with XD. So we had this cool thing where we had this, we called it a remix. And so you could select your artboard and you could hit remix, and now you're in remix mode.
Remix.
So now you have all your color themes, maybe the most popular color themes out there on color.adobe.com. And of course you've already, you've applied your color theme already. But then we thought, well, what if you could just click on one of these color themes and try something new? And then bam, done. You've recolored your artwork. You've changed your color theme. Simple, right? Fun, playful, really getting you to try new ideas, and that was kind of the whole idea behind this. But of course, the cool thing was we were prototyping in XD, and so we actually ended up with a prototype link that we shared out there, and this is still out there
still there.
Still there.
With
people
old comments.
Yes, with all the comments still intact.
That's right.
And we were testing it live with users on the chat, which is really cool. And again, like I think XD is the only real tool that you can do something like that in. So so it's very Inception, as Danielle had put it, very Inception-like sort of design challenge we had. So we're gonna do it again.
Yeah, let's do it again.
Double Inception.
Yes,
this
yes,
time,
yes.
Yeah, double Inception.
Double Inception.
Yeah, let's see why.
We're down and we're a couple dreams deep. Everybody's got their little spinning top. All right, let's go. But we're also here to we thought we'd also said like Danielle and I are part of the Adobe design organization. So we've got like 150 designers, or the kind of designers, researchers, engineers, thinkers, people doing kind of cutting edge work here in XD, but also working on all the major products across Adobe. And so we're this really talented, just really amazing group of designers. And so like we really like to design tools for ourselves, and do things like that. So
you start getting some live feedback. Like,
oh yes.
Yana is saying like the full design capability on iOS would be great.
Oh yes, I would love to design. Would you design on an iPad, Danielle? If you had like XD on the iPad?
If I had XD on the iPad, I probably would.
Yeah. What about your phone? Would you design on your phone? On the new iPhone X?
Yeah, let us know in the chat.
Let us know.
Let us know in the chat. Like, would you design on a tablet, on a phone? Yeah, let us know.
So we're here to talk about process. We're here to talk about our own process. We're here to talk about UX design in general, and we're here to talk about XD. So if you guys have any questions, let us know.
Yeah.
So
that's cool. So do you have a feature in mind already? Something you want to experiment?
I don't know, Danielle. Anything you've been wishing XD had?
I mean, we've been talking about style guides.
Yes.
And
it's a very hot topic right now.
It's a very hot topic right now. Yeah, like basically, like what does it look like to have a style guide that you can use and maybe share with other people? And like what would that sort of look like? And, and like right now when we're designing and like I have a style guide myself, like, and I'm working with other designers, like how do I share that with them and how do they use that in their workflow? So
up on the screen, this is getting meta right here. So this is the style guide from Adobe.
Oh, okay.
So this is our internal style guide that we use to design all the sort of new apps that we've been working on, and some of the old ones. Photoshop's started to pick up on some of this as well.
So the new generations of, like, Adobe XD is one of the new apps, I guess.
Yes.
Project Felix.
Okay. Project Nimbus as well.
Okay. And inspired by this.
Yeah. So this is our style guide right here. And so what kind of the old workflow was is we were just kind of copying and pasting these into different documents, and we were making sure that we always have the latest version of the file. All right, so it's really cool because now in XD I've got the assets panel, and I have all the global colors and the global character styles, and I have all the icons as symbols. So now when I start using these to create new UI for XD, if I want to try something new or change something, I can just change it here in the assets panel. But again, it's not great yet, right? Like it's kind of locked in. Like I have to make sure, and Danielle has to make sure we have the latest version of the file. It's still very manual. Then if something changes, we have to go back into all the files we've used it in and update there. And so I don't know. Danielle and I were thinking maybe something a little more seamless than that.
Cool.
So
yeah.
So how do you want to proceed?
Yeah.
Like what would be the first step?
Danielle, how do you start a project here in the design lab?
Yeah, I mean with design lab, I think like normally we talk about like who is our user and like what is the user problem that we have and sort of defining that, and then coming up with sort of a general hypothesis or like sort of a story that we want to tell. And I think like sort of starting in sort of a smaller framework, and we can sort of build off of that, keeping sort of core to whatever our like main sort of concept is.
Yeah. And where do you guys start? Like, do you guys get together as a team?
It depends.
Like,
I mean, it's all over the place. I feel like it could be, sometimes we do a brainstorm and we sort of come up with as a group, like, what are different topics that we're all interested in, like Post-its everywhere, and then sort of going up and, marking all of them and grouping them and sort of figuring out like what topics everyone seems to be gravitating towards, or sometimes we all just individually will pitch an idea. Like if we've all been sort of like, if I've been really thinking about this like assets in XD, like I could pitch it to the team and sort of see where everyone is, and if everyone else seems to think that it's also something we should move forward with, then we can go from there.
Yeah. And I like what you said about like defining like the user problem, and that really resonates with me and kind of how we work as a team in XD. Kind of not just the design team, but also the full product team, where it's really user focused, and it's really based on research, right? Like, you know, of course we're designers, so we know a little bit about what we're looking for, but you know, it really starts with going out and talking to people, you know, like in the real world, and actually like learning about their process and seeing the problems that they're running into. And I like how you said that, like they really start with like a user problem. And we brought our mobile whiteboard, because all great projects.
That's the new iPad?
This is the new.
This morning?
Yes, announced this morning.
Oh, that's great. That's the white pad.
Yeah. So what we're gonna do real quick, maybe the chat
We'll do some.
can help us out there. If anyone out there has been creating their own style guides or has used some style guides, you know, like what kind of problems do you guys, you know, trying to solve with a style guide?
The problems you.
Yeah.
So why do you need style guides?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. So let's define the problem. What's the problem? What's the problem? So what are some of the things like, why do we create style guides, right? We create style guides to keep these complex systems, you know, very consistent, very consistent across, like, because, you know, we're designing apps across Mac and Windows and iOS, so, you know, we really want to keep everybody on the same page, right?
Yeah.
So everybody same. I should have just written same page. We all would have known what I meant there. All right. Any other problems?
I think, like, we'll keep everyone on the same page for the designer's point of view. I think also for, like, user experience point of view, the point of view of the user, it's having consistency across that experience.
Yeah.
So if you're using the same visual language, then it's the same sort of experience across.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have Fernando also starting talking about some elements such as common UI patterns, typography, colors, hierarchy.
Patterns.
And Cartier is asking something that maybe we can cover later,
Yeah.
but it's how do you conduct, you know, like user research, interviews, how do you get volunteers, you know?
Oh yeah.
So.
We you know, we do I mean, we can answer real quick, but we do it a variety of ways. Like how we would find out some of these is we reach out directly to design teams or to designers, you know, locally and, you know, virtually, kind of on the, you know, on the web, kind of like we're doing now, you know, chatting with a bunch of designers live here, and then again we kind of send out surveys as well. That's how we've also sort of collected a lot of users who are willing to sort of give us their, you know, give some time and chat with us. And how does the Design Lab or?
I mean, I think it depends. Like, you have your different types of user interviews that, like, we've been conducting. So, like, one-on-one in-person user interviews sometimes are kind of like that golden bullet that you don't quite always want to use right away, because it can be hard to, like, get people to come in that are your users, to, like, get them in person and spend that much time with them. So sometimes we start with just like usertesting.com or like some sort of survey or something like that that's a little bit of a cheaper form of user testing. If like we have our users that are designers, sometimes I'll just go around the office and test it with people, right? I mean, like, there's cheap ways to do it, and then there's like more costly ways. Sometimes
definitely.
we definitely will actually go through. We have like a research team here and go through them and like create like really thorough sort of like what's our hypothesis for all these things, and set up like a form of questions that we want to get through. And, it can be just like an in-person like talking through research, or it could be like a click through, like we want them to actually test out the prototype.
Yeah, some early on, and those early phases, just getting out and like seeing how designers work, right? Seeing what problems they're running into in their current workflows, because, you know, we're trying to make tools for the future, right? So we're really trying to get at like the heart of the problem, rather than, you know, sort of go and look at every individual feature, but really take it as a whole, right? Like, we need a way to keep everybody on the same page, using common patterns across the experience, because as we know, like the best apps, the best designed apps, you know, they speak with one voice, right? There's a consistency kind of throughout, not just like on one platform, but across the different platforms. And that's a big challenge here at Adobe, right? It's creating kind of a unified sort of experience across those platforms, you know?
Yeah.
So again, through something like that I showed, you know, our style guide, like we're trying to do it that way. But I think with this problem here, like the challenge is like, it's still very manual, right? I think, right, you know, so, you know, keeping everybody in sync is very manual, and it takes a lot of management.
It's manual, so when you have any changes or updates, it can be super tedious to go across, update things, or like there's one thing that changes in your style guide, then you have to manually go in, and how do you distribute that across everyone? It's the whole process.
And of course, you know, like our project spans like, you know, dozens, hundreds of files at a certain time, right? These are big projects we're all working on now, right? You know, these experiences, these multi-platform experiences, right? And so, yeah, it's just a lot of work.
Yeah.
So I think we can make that better. I think that's this. I think XD could do it better. Keeping everybody in sync, sharing style guides.
Yeah, especially with the technologies we have today.
Yeah.
You know, there's something that's, if you get what the Creative Cloud libraries, you know, also are aiming, you know, like synchronizing some assets at the same time. And this could be an extra layer, like a kind of meta project. Like, I like I mean, what you highlighted. Like today you have that, like, it could be like just one color or just one typeface, and and you open your folder, you see 1,000 files. Okay.
Here we go. Yeah.
So,
And there's probably small variations, like point size is a little bigger on this file.
I got caught the other day by the Adobe logo in my videos.
Oh.
Someone told me, oh, you know, the logo changed. What? Logo? Adobe? Yeah, it changed. And it was just the kernel, like just the space between two characters. And just, like something like almost impossible to catch, except this person on Slack who got it. But
It's a designer, probably a designer.
And I had to open, like, in this case, it was After Effects, replace the logo. So, render everything.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Not cool.
Wouldn't it be nicer if you could, like, just like, you know, publish that style guide? Someone could sort of grab it and then use it in their projects, and then anytime there's an update, it just flows out
Populates.
automatically.
Okay, let's try to prototype this.
Let's see what we can do.
I think
we're
it
gonna
can
do
be super useful.
Yep. So let's see. So Danielle has a really awesome style guide that we found out there.
Is it something created by?
Created by a user, an XD user.
Wow, an XD user
and,
from the community.
Yeah, from the community. And I hold on a second. I had his page up here.
It's very impressive.
Yes.
Oh, talking about community, we also invite the community to create and share prototypes during this show.
Oh, great.
Yeah, the theme this week, I can show you, we have a short animation.
Oh, great.
But if you can play the video. So we invite them to create at least a 3-screen prototype. Okay, it can be 15, but at least 3 with Mr. Talin. The theme is
look at that.
shopping. And then they can switch to the prototype view, just add some interactions. Okay, preview the prototype and share it with us.
And share it.
So share on the web, it creates a link. And the only way for me to get your prototype is to check Twitter. So make sure to add the Adobe Live hashtag. Okay, it's the only way for us to get your prototype during the stream. And
link to the
your favorite project can win a Creative Cloud. So
all right.
we'll see. So
and
keep sharing
your
project. The theme this week is shopping.
Shopping.
Yeah,
excellent.
shopping experience.
Yeah.
Could be whatever you want. But shopping.
And we're here. We're ready to. We'll even provide some feedback in real time.
So I will check Twitter. It would be interesting. Oh, that's the style guide.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So by
we have
Tyler Wayne.
I don't know.
Really great style guide. Really nice. Again, like and he shared it here on Dribble, so everybody can go and download Tyler's really great work here.
Yeah, so we downloaded it in XD, and we have this nice style guide here. Starter template.
Yeah. So, you imagine, Tyler needs to share this with his team, right? He needs to make sure that everybody stays in sync all the time. So if he's maybe he's the keeper of the style guide. So if he makes a change, he wants to push that out to everyone. Or even like we did today, like Tyler published this online, and then we went out and found it, we downloaded it. But wouldn't it be cool if Tyler updated that we would just see the update in real time, just flow right into
all the project.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a good example.
Yep.
I like it.
What does the chat think? They were like our prompt today.
Do you get it? Style guides? Does it make sense? Let us know. Have you ever worked with style guides? Yeah.
And what problems have you run into?
Yeah.
In using style guides?
What is frustrating?
Yeah. Yeah.
Usually with design, we try to kill frustration.
That's the goal.
Yeah. That's the goal of design.
Yeah.
We don't want to be frustrated. Okay, let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay. So Danielle, after we've finished this, we've identified the problem. And the problem is keeping everyone on the same page. All right. So where do we go? What do you guys do with the design lab now that you have the problem, and we've seen we've talked about some of the pain points. Mm-hmm. What's kind of the next? What do you guys like to do?
I think now, since we've sort of ideated around figuring out what our core idea is, or generally, I think it's sort of thinking about, all right, let's start talking about some of that flow, or what it might look like, or what are some of the key moments in that story that we want to tell. So kind of thinking about that user journey or user story that is sort of that key, the key moments to what it is we want to accomplish with the style guide.
All right, grab a marker. You want to take the first stab at it?
Okay. Ooh, that's a loud cap right there. Okay, same page.
Okay.
So let's see. We have. We're thinking that we have here. We're gonna start in XD.
All right. That's good. That's a good starting place. I like that
We're
already.
Good. We're really good. I think I can stop right now. No. Okay. So we have XD and we have
I'm a designer.
style guide.
So I'm a designer in XD. Got my style guide.
Yeah, my style guide. And I think I'm just gonna storyboard generally, visually what I'm thinking in my head. So right now, our idea is we want to be able to push this out to another platform, right? We want to basically. Well, I think the question is, okay, we have an artboard maybe with the work, right? We want to make a style guide from there.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
generate
this
a
is
style guide.
Yeah. So I've got my sticker sheet all laid out, just like Tyler has his right here.
And you can
Yeah. So basically, I have some artwork on my artboard, and now I want to generate a style guide. So I think that's the first step, or the first question is basically, okay, I want to.
Your handwriting's much better than mine.
I'm at a weird angle here, so don't judge.
No, you're doing great.
Generate style guide. So that's the first thing. So what does that look like is sort of the next question.
Yeah.
And then once we do generate this style guide, what's the next step?
Yeah.
Are we publishing this to another platform? So I think we talked about potentially publishing this out to Behance or somewhere else where other people can grab it or something like that.
That can be really.
So.
I mean, I'd love to Tyler's done this great work. Now he wants to share it with the community, right? So he's I've made this great stuff. Look at how I've done it here in XD. Go check it out. Maybe it's a great starting point, for my next project. Give me some ideas,
And get some feedback from the community. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. So you can
Sharit is watching us from Qatar. It says it's
wow.
2 a.m.
Yeah. Thanks for staying up with us in Qatar.
# night shift.
Yes.
Okay. So if we go out to Behance, you can get feedback on that. But I think the question is, how do we bring it back in?
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe you get some feedback.
I didn't really think about that. You'd want people to tell you if they liked it or not.
Yeah.
Give it a thumbs up.
Appreciation.
Yeah, appreciation.
So there could be, I think that's another way we could go with it is once you get feedback, and maybe we'll come back to it, is how do you update or change that file if you are the person that's sort of the master of that file. But I think for now it's okay, from here, how are other people getting access to that file?
Yeah.
So what about so this is sort of the designer going across, publishing to Behance, and the question would be, all right, from here, how are other users getting this? So
they're downloading it.
Share, whatever we end up doing, but basically bring it back into XD, but for a bunch of different users.
There's a question from Jake asking, what is the importance of a design system for a company? How necessary is it right now? I guess maybe you're talking about the importance of design in general. Maybe you can talk about it.
Yeah. Well, I think
like today.
you know, we face a really crazy problem here at Adobe, which is we make a lot of apps. We make a lot of apps to do a lot of different types of things, and they're across many platforms. You can find Adobe on pretty much any platform that you have access to that's on a screen. And you know, one of those goals that we have as a design organization is to really come across as like we're one Adobe. We're one Adobe experience. We put a lot of value in that. That when our designers and our creatives go out there and our some of maybe our marketing analytics people, when they go out there and they look at an app, they use an app in their daily work, it looks like it came from Adobe, and it's going to work and be organized in generally the same way. And so one of our goals with our design systems is one, we want to look the same, like we came from Adobe, but we also we want people to feel like if they've been inside of Adobe and they've been able to get around and learn the workflow, that they can easily hop into another one of our apps and get on ramped up and working in it very quickly. And that's really one of our goals, I think, with the style guide that I shared. And we have kind of a broader sort of framework for the experience that we try and be consistent with. It's a huge challenge. Like I said, we're always investigating like new and different ways to do it.
We wanted to translate well across products, right? Because if you go in and you have a pen tool that works one way, and then you go into another tool and all of a sudden it works completely differently, you're like, I have to learn this all over again? Like, is this a joke? I don't know. So we wanted to be like super consistent across experiences, and whether that's desktop, mobile, right? Like whatever device you're on, like looking at that language that we use and making sure that it's sort of a seamless experience for a user to come in and use one product and maybe jump over to something else and still feel like they have a general understanding of like that like sort of framework that they're jumping into.
Yeah. Like if you get into XD and you love XD and you use XD and we're like, oh, and here's this new thing, Project Nimbus. And you're like, what's that for? And you go download that and you get into that. Like XD and Nimbus should feel like they came from Adobe, and that they're of this kind of new world where like it's very direct user experience. You can onboard very quickly to it. And those are some of the. I mean, I think that's why it's important for any company. I mean, we have a very large problem. Other companies have a very small problem.
Software company, with Morimoto services, but now it's true for any type of company actually.
Yeah.
Like even someone was mentioning product design. Like packaging, like. Design is really now at the heart of every creative process in the enterprise, and now there are a lot of studies where you can measure the impact of design. Remember the study that says that companies that invested in design, or designers in the board, are more successful. Like, there are all these kind of studies now as to prove the value of design. But now we are lucky because you are sharing a design thinking process. So that's awesome. And I saw Katie in the chat. Katie, who is also a designer, she's the one who designed the Behance experience in New York.
Oh, really?
Katie, yeah.
Oh, look at it.
She was like, hi from New York. I know who you are, Katie.
Yes.
I know who you are.
And some of her team's work is going to play into some of the things we're gonna do here.
Yeah.
So yeah. And look at us streaming on Behance.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
That's a big thing. The last time
cool week.
Yeah, very cool. All right, so again, style guides is kind of one component of that overall sort of design story we're telling, across our sort of the Adobe team.
As a link, Couch is asking, is saying that in After Effects, it's true that you can directly publish videos to social networks, and maybe there is a place for XD, for that. Like if you want to share something. Yeah.
Well, now
point to get some feedback. I mean, that's it. Like Behance is a social network. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And I think you wrote download here.
Yeah.
Like I could also copy the link now to the Behance page and send it to anyone. I could text it to somebody. I could put it into Slack. That's what we're always doing, right? So now that again, like with XD prototypes or with some projects in After Effects or sharing a collection inside of Nimbus, right? It's out there. It's accessible by anyone. And I can share that link to anybody. Anybody can access it and give us feedback, right, directly on it. So, yeah,
that's cool.
All right, so we followed our path. We've got our style guide out here on Behance. Now the user's gonna go and do something with it in XD. All right. So how's that? What's the life of the style guide once it gets into XD?
Yeah, I think that's also a good question for the chat. Is like, what do you want to do with a style guide, like someone else's style guide?
Yeah.
Like, what do you want to do with that once you have it?
Yeah.
And I think, like, I don't know, a couple things that come to mind are, do you want to see it across something you're working on, or like if you're working on a design and you want to grab someone else's style guide, would you want to see it, just be able to basically see it apply to everything that you're working on? That's one idea.
Yeah. So you want to maybe write down some so now once it's sort of sort of come down to this point where someone's been able to access it, so they want to try some new ideas. All right. And one of the other things, like what I really loved about downloading Tyler's style guide is I just like to see how he was using XD. Right, and that was one of the things I remember doing that, like when you just pull someone's file apart to figure out how did they do that? How did they make that really cool thing, right? That's so learning is always like part of, I think, this story as well. It's how we kind of share ideas and knowledge,
Yeah, talking about learning, we have a comment from Patricia. She's from Portugal, but she's in London now, and she has been watching the live stream for more than 3 hours, and she loves it. That's cool. And she says that she's the only one using XD in her company, and she will have to do an internal workshop for the team to start to work better. And she was asking, like, do you have any advice? Like, how would you teach XD to a team? You have to do a workshop. Let's say you have 1 hour. What do you do to convince them?
So what I do, and this has been funny. Like, I've gone out and met with companies and talked about how they're working. I will take like whatever that company designs. Like I remember I went to Japan last year, and we went and met with what was the name of the company? But they made a manga like store app, so you could go and you could download comics, and they were showing us their whole process and live, like while they were telling me about their work, I quickly recreated it inside of XD. So I took like their own problem that they were having, and I basically redesigned it in XD, and then I walked them through that process, and so that was pretty good. It got a lot of oohs and ahs.
I was gonna say,
yeah. Or like I went to Line. I don't know if you guys know Line chat app in Seoul. It's a huge chat app
application,
and they had these cute little characters.
Yeah, the emojis are amazing.
Yeah, and I love to like do illustrations. So we went and we visited the Line crew, and I drew their characters inside of XD. And started doing crazy stuff with like repeat grid and all that stuff. I always look for ways to like XD just like help me do my job better or help me do it faster. And I think when people see that, it really, that's something. It's always a little breakthrough moment, a little aha moment. Like, ooh, I want to try that.
That's cool.
And, I was talking about like when you tear apart someone else's file and you see how they built it, like you learn something new. I remember doing that in like Photoshop, like. Or Illustrator. I'd be doing something one way, and then someone else would show me how they're doing it, and I'd be like, wow, why was I doing it this bad, terrible way the whole time? I'm gonna do it the way they that's how we share knowledge, as designers.
Chris is saying it also would be nice to have collaborative layers. Okay, where you could have multiple designers create forked layer. Fork is like a developer term.
Oh, that's kind of that's. So you could not only sort of apply like their style guide, but you could fork their style guide to do your own variation.
Your own branch.
Yeah.
And your own version.
That's pretty cool.
Like a developer would do on GitHub.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty
good feedback, Chris.
Yeah, Chris, that's great.
I saw on the chat something about attaching the style guide, like linking it to an artboard. I think I saw that somewhere on there.
Which is good, yeah. Maybe you want to try a style guide to just one artboard and not necessarily to your entire project.
Yeah.
Also, I think I would do some, I'll probably do some A/B testing. See what I mean?
Like you want to see,
like
compare
apply the style
it.
guide to my project, but also be able to see my previous version to see if it's more impactful.
Yeah, so it sounds like a bit of comparison that you want to start doing.
Yeah. That's cool. I like that idea. Like, again, we were talking about how manual it was to like update these things. Like, wouldn't it just be cool, to just like quickly like see what it would look like.
Yeah.
Like imagine like
Preview or
yeah, then
Yeah,
kind
it'd be great to just basically download someone's style guide, like have my file, and then basically be able to say, what would this look like with this person's style on it, right? And then not destructively, but basically be able to go between, this is what I had, this is what it looks like with someone else's style. Now what, right? Like be able to look at those.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm out there browsing Behance, and I see this style guide, and of course I'm working on my daily project, and I'm like, man, I'm kind of stuck. I'm just like, I've been kind of riffing on this for a while. I see this cool idea, I hit subscribe or download at Behance, it just shows up in XD, and now I'm just like, let me see it like this, and then it just like applies it, and we see it side by side.
Side by side would be cool.
Yeah.
And also maybe you choose to because in a style guide you have a lot of information. You have information about colors, typography, hierarchy. So maybe you just want to apply one part. Like maybe you like the color themes, but you already made a lot of research on the typography, or you licensed the typeface, so you don't want to change it.
Yeah.
So
I'll be able to sort of choose which, kind of like selectively would be like this one, not that one.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So I guess there's different elements to what a style guide
Oh, yeah,
is,
let's
which,
do
right?
that.
So
Let's do
maybe
that,
we should define sort of some
what
of
is
the
a style
sections
guide?
of
Yeah.
what is a
That's
style guide.
That's a good
right?
point.
And then
We're kind of
it's
just jumping into the
we
deep end a little bit. That's a huge danger working at Adobe is that like we're geeks about design that we just kind of like get off to the races, and everyone's like, wait a second, what is that again?
Like, wait a second, okay.
All right, okay.
Not that I don't know what a style guide is.
Yeah,
but
Danielle,
you should probably define
let's
it.
define a style guide.
All right.
Define it.
So we have color was one thing that came up, right?
Yep.
There was
Kemal says every design starts with a style guide, but the result is always different.
Oh.
That's good.
That's a really good point, because maybe one of our other goals, right, is to like lay down the law, like you can't deviate from the style guide. That could be a whole other segment.
yeah.
But
Okay, let me check what's happening on Twitter. Because, again, we invite you to share some prototypes using Adobe Live as a hashtag. So
let's
quickly check.
all right, so Danielle, we'll keep going here. So we've got color, we've got textiles. What else do we have as part of our style guide? We've got a few. So we got the symbols.
Yeah.
So we got or components, maybe we'll call it symbols or components. All right, like buttons can be part of that style guide. What else? What else is part of it? Do you guys have any ideas? Anything else
So you
that's
have
we're
color,
missing?
textiles, symbols.
What else do we have? I guess you could have images, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Right?
Usually
Like image assets.
Like a logo. I mean,
Yep.
and so it's more complex, but sometimes what comes with style guides is the spacing.
Oh, like the layout, like the grid.
If you use the logo,
Yeah.
it has to be, 20 pixels from the right. You see these kind of guides that you see all the time.
I think that's the interesting thing about style guides is you have like distinct, these are the textiles you should use, but then you have rules, right? Like
And
I
then
feel
you
like
have
that's
rules.
the
Oh,
extra
rules,
thing
yeah.
that's
Yeah,
layered
it's
on
true.
top of any of these things
Yeah.
is like, what are the rules of how you use
How you
them?
apply the
I feel
rules,
like is a very specific thing to why people are making the style guide,
Mm-hmm.
other than just the assets themselves.
Yeah. So I mean, rules is kind of a good. That's
maybe-
so you have like layout rules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Contrast rules usually.
Mhm.
Yeah, this type of stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah. Do's and don'ts. Like you mentioned
Yeah.
images,
Yeah.
right? So it's like, how do you deal with images? Like some images you do want to use, or especially with like logos, it's the spacing around it, how you don't want to like warp it or do something to
Yeah.
it, right? But
Hmm.
the standard.
That's
ones.
pretty. Yeah. It's like you can't do the wrong thing with this. As Kamal was saying, like everyone starts from a style guide, but then it can end up wildly different. We see that all the
true.
time, by the way.
Michael Fernandez, maybe include the logo. Assets,
Yeah.
icons.
That's
Yeah, it's true,
icons.
but-
Yeah, that's a good
yeah.
point. I mean, we kind
Yeah,
of
so it's kind of
let's
within
break
here.
down. Yeah, because I think what we mean by symbols is that you can copy and paste it everywhere, but then if you use it and you update it, it updates everywhere.
Yeah.
So it could be for an icon, it could be for a logo. Yeah, that's a good point. All right, I think that's. Anything else we're missing from our definition of a style guide?
I think it looks
I
good.
think we're
so,
all right, yeah.
They will let us know.
Oh, Michael's checking out is that a?
So it's Ahmed in the chat. He shared with us this prototype. Okay, let me show you quickly. It's called iNear. Okay, so I guess it has to do with geolocation. Or
Oh,
something.
cool.
Okay, let me try to guess. Social networking. Get started. Okay. I will sign with Facebook. Oh, nice to see who is nearby. I guess.
Oh.
I see. Maher is nearby. Karim is nearby. Joy.
Oh, it's
They're all nearby.
Oh, yep, all nearby.
All my friends.
And what are they doing
then
nearby?
I can filter, I guess. Still need some work on the on filtering.
Oh, sharing? Do some sharing?
And I can share with AirDrop.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I'm trying to get... it's with the profile. Oh, nice.
There
nice
we go.
Transition here.
Okay. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's a good
Little
job.
Slide in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the iOS UI kit.
Mm-hmm. Yes, the
Yeah.
iOS
It's a good
UI
addition.
kits. Very nice.
Log out. Yeah.
Nice.
Nice navigation.
Nice.
Good job.
Nice job. Nice job.
Good job, Harman. Yeah. Thanks for sharing.
I want to see the next step.
Yeah.
That's always like one of the first things in XD when I was really using it like all the time, is I just kept going.
Oh, yeah.
Like I would
Yeah, me too.
beforehand I would design a few screens and I would design just enough because I knew it was going to take me a lot of work to take it from Illustrator or Photoshop and take it somewhere else and then make it interactive. But I kept every time I would get to the end of my prototype in XD, I'd be like, oh, what's behind that door? Let's just keep going. And I would just follow it. That's some of the funnest times I've had. So I'm just what if we went that way? We just keep following that as far as it would go. And then of course I have to come back to reality and be like, oh, I was supposed to be working on this other thing. But
Like Danielle, what you say is okay. Let's define what it is.
yeah. I
This
just
is really back in first.
bring him back. That's
But what I like also with the freedom you have with the workspace in XD, because first I need to work from left to right. You duplicate, and then use to the top is an alternative, or and to the bottom is another one, and then it becomes a maze. So at the end you're like, okay.
Yeah.
But having this freedom, it's so cool.
So nice.
Just duplicate, try something else.
Yeah.
I
It's
just love it.
I still love using it. I actually figured out the other day I think I can claim the mantle as the oldest XD user, actively designing in XD. I'm
Oh, yeah.
no one else. I'm
Oh no, yeah, you're the founder, the father.
Yes. I've been using XD longer than anyone.
Yeah.
Just
You
remember.
have been on it for a while, yeah.
All right. So we've got our style guide in XD, and we're going to.
I'm a designer. I
Yep.
publish it to Behance.
Yep. Because I maybe want to get some feedback, but I also
But
want to
I
share.
share.
Yeah,
Sure.
I want to share. So then the users, the other designer, or the creative out there looking for cool new ideas, sees it, says, oh, that's good. I'm going to basically add it or download it, share, or subscribe to it on that page. Well, first after I give it an appreciation, give it a little and then I'm going to basically put it right into XD and start using
and
it.
Play to my design.
Yeah.
Yeah, and try out some of these things to
Yeah,
see the right
comparison.
comparison or try new ideas.
Yeah.
Things like that. Yeah.
And of course, one of the other paths we could also take, and this might just be something, I'm really liking the core of this flow, but what if I just wanted to share this directly with my team, or with one other person? So this is the public,
No, this is
Yeah.
the community,
Yeah.
sharing with the community, or
Yeah.
sharing with my team.
Yep, I can just share directly with Michael
you
and
need
Danielle.
a cloud system.
But it's just like in a prototype,
If
right?
only we would have a cloud.
If only there was a cloud.
Yeah, because I feel like this is one direction
Yeah,
that
yeah.
you maybe want someone with that master power over the
Yep.
file, because everyone else is using it for different purposes probably, versus you talk about the other experience, which is
More collaborative.
a bit more of we're working potentially on the same thing and we want this guide to stay live and real time across everything that we're working on, which is a little bit of just a different story
Yeah.
or a different flow
Yeah.
that we might want to
Yeah.
think about.
But I like this public one. Because I feel
we should try.
I went in there and found Talin.
Melissa is not convinced. Melissa, Smoky Studio, she says, okay, Stanga is a very nice idea, but sharing the work on Behance to get feedback, she's perplexed. A lot of people don't give constructive feedback.
Very true, but what if they could download it and actually use it themselves?
Create and share.
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah.
Yeah.
But you're right. People tend to they like it. They just maybe they give it a thumbs up and they go, yeah,
that's nice.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, but it'd be interesting. I mean, you have your Behance work, or you have your style guide, and now if people are kind of making their own work off of your style guide, it's kind of like they're remixing that style guide in a different way. It could be interesting then to see even ties on Behance, like you have your style guide, like what have other people made with yours? You might get more feedback in that sense now that people have used it.
Yeah.
Oh, don't be sorry, Melissa.
No, that was great. No, it's totally it's a really good point. Yeah. It's a challenge because, like, you know, you want to put yourself out there as a designer, right? But then it's hard to know, like, people, is this useful? Like, am I doing the right thing? Is this it's really hard. I think we all kind of face that. I mean,
that's why we're so grateful when you share, you know, what you are creating with us on Twitter. I mean, this is awesome.
Yep. All right, so once we've got our user journey here, our rough sort of sketch.
What is the next step?
Yeah, what's the next step? What's the next step for you, Danielle? Where do you go after this?
I think it's like just starting to dig in and kind of start mocking up really general sort of wireframes and that like flow of what this story would be. And so, I mean, there's two of us, so either, you know, sometimes it's either, you know, if you have two people, like divvying up, you know, if there's different pieces that don't need to be together, or if, you know, we work on it together to get like that base flow down and kind of nail that down, and then if there's pieces then we want to branch off on, sort of seeing how we feel about that.
All right.
Yeah.
Should we maybe we can, what we can do is we could wireframe out quickly, like the initial, the whole flow. Yeah. Because I think what we want to do is we want to get it into a link and out there to share with the chat, like as quickly as we can. I think that's always the thing. I think. Yeah. Who was it saying earlier? How do we convince the rest of our team to use XD? You do something like this. All right. Okay, so let's go over here. I guess we'll start with me. Maybe I'll just be kind of the driver at this point. You guys just tell me what to do. Okay, so I have actually one of my team's files actually open here. It has, again, this is where it gets very Inception-like. Look at this, XD in XD. Wow. Very crazy. This is just from kind of our latest sort of UI. But I think I'm going to start, I like to like start a little more low fidelity. Yeah. So I think I'm just going to draw on the fly here. All right, so I'm just going to copy and paste this. I'm just going to get rid of all of that quickly. I'm just going to rough in some UI here, because we're going to start our journey here in XD. So I'm just going to make this feel like XD real quick. Okay, and I've got some global colors here, and I'm just going to do that real quick. Look at that, great. I'm also going to just turn that off. Take these guys. All right, there's our rough UI here in XD. I'm also going to make the background. I'm actually going to apply a global color to the background as well, so we have a little. We know what's the UI and what's the background, and I'm gonna just kind of rough in. Actually, Danielle, would you make me export a PNG of that style guide? And we'll just drop it in, because this is we're gonna use Taylor. If you're out there, if you're listening, if you don't mind, we're gonna use you as an example. So we're gonna have Taylor's style guide be our stand-in here.
So you can export a PNG directly from the artboard?
Yep, so yeah.
Nice.
Cool, and I'll share that with you.
All right, awesome. And then I'm just gonna drag and drop it right into. All right. See if it, all right, well, we'll keep going. I'll wait for that to show up here. Okay, so we have XD. And the really important part is up here in XD, we have a share button here. Of course, we gotta use Adobe Clean, because, you know, we're Adobe. That's part of our...
Is it also the typeface we use for the UI?
Yeah.
Adobe Clean?
Yeah. Wow. Except for right now, I think on the Mac, we use native Mac.
Okay.
But on Windows,
It's
we
Adobe
use
Everything
Visual-
else is
yeah.
Adobe. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
I didn't know.
And just so as we're working to kind of keep my file kind of really seamlessly, so I can if I change my ideas, my mind later, I'm just gonna make a character style of that. I live with this panel open. I gotta say, like this has been like my favorite feature, like launched, like maybe ever. I don't know. That's not a repeat grid.
I was gonna say, what about repeat grid?
Yes.
We all know you
always
love repeat grid.
always caveat that. Okay. So Danielle, walk us through the journey. Let me see if there it is. So I'm just gonna drop that right in there. Okay.
So you have your style guide
Yep.
on your artboard, and
Yep.
the question is, you're gonna generate.
So what's our action here? Our action is
You need to think about generating this for sharing it publicly.
Yeah, publicly. Okay. So maybe what we'll do is because we have here, of course, we have one option right now to share the prototype, which we're going to do in just a little bit. But what if we had another option there? So I'm just going to draw a little dialog box here, and I'm going to say share prototype. Oh, look, there's repeat grid. And I'm gonna say share style guide. Extend that out just a little bit. Okay. And I'm gonna apply my, oh, look at that. All right. So now we have a little dialogue going on here. Okay, what's our next part of our journey here now that we have our little, okay, we've got our dialogue, right? And we're going to share
the style guide.
All right. So here, as I'm working here, I'm just copying and pasting and just adding, more UI on top as a follow through my journey. Here's a question for you guys. So now, let's see, I'm trying to think of because we want to make this really fun, really direct, like when you're sharing, right? Like, what's an experience that you like out there that like, what's one of the apps that you use? Maybe it's on the phone, maybe something else that like has a really great sharing experience, So rather than just sort of like watching this like just happen, like, what if I could pick and choose? What if I could like, how do we want to share this? Like, what's the experience in the app? Do you guys have any?
Like, are you asking if you would be sharing?
Yeah, like what? Like, yeah, like what information do I need to share when I'm sharing? Like, what do I need to fulfill like the Behance page, for example? Like, what information like do I need to share alongside of this? Is there any?
The title, the description, like the basic ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we take a look at like what your Behance page looks like, right? Of like that information you might want to or need to share. Because maybe it's like sort of that one-stop shop where you get that panel where it's like, oh, this is the name of this style guide, and here are the tags and everything, and you can just press and it's live, right? Like without having to then go to Behance and sort of fill out a whole page or something like that.
Yeah. So what do we need? What do we need here on this?
Inception.
Whoa.
Oh boy. Oh, here we go.
It's trippy.
So yeah, if you go
let's
in
look on a project.
projects, you have the title.
Yep.
Oh, look at that. What if I could get like, I almost like imagine almost like a little like, kind of like preview of this page, like directly in XD? That kind of makes like sense. Like, what if?
Yeah.
Let me do this. What if we did like
instead of when you share out the link, you're sharing out that piece, and so you're getting like a preview like this of what this would actually look like
at like a
page. Yeah.
That would be really cool. So what if I did this, and I'm gonna just lighten that up a little bit. So now I have. So it's almost like because the Behance editor kind of in a way kind of does this, right? Like I can.
Yeah, you have this sort of
that WYSIWYG kind of style.
Yeah, the Behance editor, it asks you when you create a project, you mean, or yeah, it's just like, do you want to add an image, text,
yeah, so
style, and then after you will have the pop-up, asking for what is the title of the project, description, tools that you have been using, keywords.
So I have like, okay, so what do we got? We've got the name. Oh, we got a little avatar. We have a little avatar here.
Your name, the title, and then keywords.
All right, keywords. Okay, we're gonna put a little line there. And we're just gonna do. We're gonna do like a little placeholder guy right here.
Kevin, he wants to add a voice control.
I have that. XD, make icon. XD, do design. I like it. I'm yes. Let's. There we go. That would be so much easier. And I'm just going to. Again, this is we like to start maybe a little more again, like. We don't want to invest too much, at this point. I think is kind of, how I think our team likes to approach it, where it's like, we're just trying to get this idea down. We don't need to dive in too deep here yet.
Yeah, I mean, with our team, we do like 2-week sprints. Is sort of the time frame that we give ourselves, and so we'll go with like, okay, in 2 weeks, what do we want to accomplish, or like, what is that sort of like workflow that we want to get to, and then that's sort of our investment time, and then at 2 weeks we sort of check in and reassess, okay, like, did we answer the questions that we had, and is this still going towards like the user problem that we had, and should we continue moving forward, or should we take a step back? And at 2 weeks is sort of like that marker that we move at. Yeah.
So do you start very like low fidelity, and then are you aiming to like test in that 2 week time period? Because I really love your guys' sprint process, I must say. I tried to emulate a lot of it.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
It depends on, I think, who you're working with, like, and the specific project. I mean, it depends, because at least with my team, with Design Lab, it's a designer paired with a developer most likely. So the designer is constantly working with the developer to also like create a prototype right away. And so I think we try and prove things out before a developer is actually going in and like going in the code, which is why XD comes in handy, is basically without having to invest in actually doing any code, you can mock something up and test it in some sense, and like have an idea of what it'll be before you're like, okay, let's spend some time on like actually coding this thing.
Yeah. Because I know you're like getting, if you have an engineer working directly with you, like that's amazing. Like that's like the perfect, but like a lot of the times, like there are only so many, and like sometimes we just don't have like the money or the time to invest too much early in the process. That's the same reason why I love XD too. It allows me to test, right? So yeah. Okay, so we've got, so you guys take a look at this. Chat, tell me what you think. So let's actually wire this up, because I think we've got enough steps here. Let's do this. So I'm gonna hop over to prototype. I just updated, so yes. So okay, so I'm gonna hit the share. So I've got my style guide on my artboard. I'm gonna hit share. It's gonna pop up this new dialog, which is gonna tell me that I can either share a prototype or share a style guide. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna share a style guide. So I'm gonna wire that up there, and there we go. Okay, so let's go and let's preview that. Okay, so here I am. I'm Tyler. I'm working on this really amazing style guide. I'm going to, it's all ready, and I want to share this online, just like Tyler did on Dribbble. So I'm going to share that. I'm going to share style guide. Boom, now here I am, and I can see almost the exact same information that I can see on my Behance page. Maybe do I want to edit some of these? Do I want to leave some out? Do I want to include them all? Like, is there any, like, am I publishing from a clean document, or maybe one that's been a little in process? Like, I don't know. What can I do there?
I guess you have an editor on Behance.
Yeah.
See what I mean? So you can publish, and then, okay, if you want to fine tune, you go on Behance and you edit there.
True.
I guess.
All right. Okay, so that's good. So I think that's feeling pretty good, right? So taking this experience. So now we're gonna go from
Alexander Volkov on YouTube. He has an idea.
Yeah.
It would be cool to sync style guide with prototype wireframe inside Adobe XD. Yeah. Putting wireframes down, you can switch between style guide. Yeah, this is coming. This is coming. So
Yes.
the
Yes.
first stage is you share a style guide, and after we will try to prototype how you can consume, download the style guide, and sync it with your project.
Yep. Okay, so now that I've done that, let's see.
Cartier is asking, what about having the option to post at a certain time? On Behance, I think you have two status. Like it can be a draft. So actually, it's a good idea. Like, it should be a draft.
Oh, it should be a draft.
Yeah, you publish it as a draft.
Oh.
So if you want to improve it on Behance, you can, and then you make it public.
That's not a bad idea. Let's try that.
This is there were some sharing features that are not there anymore, but I know you remember in Photoshop CC you could directly share to Behance. You remember that? There was file share to Behance.
That's right.
Yeah. And it was sharing a draft. And so then it was uploaded on Behance, and you could open the project, improve it, add your own text, and say, okay, now it's ready for.
All right, so
yeah, good idea.
That's a good idea. So I'm gonna do one thing is we always like to give you a little heads up on what just happened. So I'm gonna do a little thing here. Oh, yeah. There we go. Just a little affirmation. Hey, you did something really good. Great. So that kind of I think wraps up like that. I mean, we're definitely gonna dive in there more and kind of wrap up some of those details over the next few days. But I think that generally kind of gets I think
it's the bare bones of what we want for the idea of being able to start with the file, get it to publishing it, and be able to share it so that now we can work on that flow of like people taking it and subscribing or downloading it themselves.
All right. I think it's good. So our next part, do you want to design this next part?
Yep.
I think. All right. Okay. I'm gonna save this file here. Chat. We need a name.
Oh yeah.
Because I always have found
you need a name for the feature.
that one of the most important parts of any project, particularly here at Adobe, is you got to have a catchy name. Because if we just called this style guide sharing project, people would be like, what's a style guide? I don't know. There's a lot of explaining to do. But if we have a really good name, just like cuts right through it. So any good project needs a name. So do we leave it? Just chat there. Do they want to give it a shot?
Yeah. Let's try
to
to
name?
find a name
All
for
right.
the feature.
Well, you guys work on a
They're
name.
usually very creative.
Yes.
Project something.
Yes.
Could be a code name.
Project something. Nice. So I guess I'll hop into Behance mocks, right? And start thinking about, okay, now you've published something. So maybe I'll fill in one of these projects with that style guide PNG. So I'm just going to drop it right in there.
Cool.
Sweet.
Yep.
So, okay, you've published it. It's now on here. This is your actual page, so maybe I'll drop it in there as well. It's that first project.
I gotta say, I love seeing Behance in a design in XD. that probably just makes me so happy. I'm set. I'm good for a while.
All right,
And Katie, who worked on so she designed everything in XD.
Yeah.
So the Adobe Live experience on Behance.
She did. Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome. That's so cool.
So we did all the review, the chat, everything.
Oh, you
using
did?
XD.
Oh, that's
I like Adam's project Talin Wadsworth.
that's
Very clever.
That's
very
awesome.
clever.
That's awesome.
Oh, the Project Fedora. I was watching one of yours. Didn't you promise last time that your next project would be Project Fedora?
I don't know. I don't
one.
recollect. I like
those are good names,
Subbox.
guys.
those are pretty good.
Project
Subbox.
Soapbox.
Those.
Oh no, are we on our design? So we can go all day on design, man. We just it's our partners and significant others. They're very tired of hearing us talk about design.
Style
all the time.
Lucas.
Style Lucas. Ooh, I like that. What else? Anybody else got anything else? All right, so Danielle's working on the Behance project page.
Yep.
Okay.
Martin all day is asking you, do you need a degree to be a UX designer?
I don't necessarily think so. I think that what you need is a good foundation of skills, design skills. So however you can get that any number of ways. I think you can follow, you can get an internship, right? You need that on-the-job experience. That's one way. You can go to school. I went to school. Danielle, did you go to design school, or did you went?
Yeah, I studied. I got a BFA in graphic design.
Yeah. So we both have graphic design backgrounds. I did the same. So we went that route, but again, we did that, I think, to get that foundation of skills and the foundation of critical thinking. That's really a part of our job, and communication. That's another part of our job as designers. So I think there are different ways to acquire that, and I think you just need to kind of. I'm always sort of asking myself, like, what is it I want to do, and what skills are really emblematic of what it is I want to do, and then how do I go about doing that? I think like school's one way. On-the-job experience is another. There are some, I know a lot of people who've gone to like General Assembly here in the city and around the different locations and have started there. But yeah, I think again, like I think you kind of find the right fit for you. Yeah. All right, so we've got our style guide here on. Look at that, that's amazing.
So it
looks like it's already ready. Push it, it's live,
right
go.
Now, yeah. So on your profile in Behance, we have this little style guide project. You click within that card to see the larger view, and then sort of added down here, and obviously work on the styling of it, but there's a button to basically say like subscribe to style guide.
Subscribe.
Subscribe. I like that says that's a very descriptive word.
Yeah.
Subscribe. What would you if you subscribed to it? Yeah. What would you expect if you subscribed?
Because I think the difference. I'm trying to think about the language of if I'm saying I'm downloading it, I'm thinking it's one time. I don't have any connections to updates or things like that. I chose subscribe in comparison to that because I'm thinking, okay, if we want to do updates and things like that. So like if I change this file, having the option now as someone who subscribed to that style guide, like. Could I now see those, like update my changes as well since they updated their file? That could be an option.
Okay, you keep doing that. I'm just I'm quickly adding a state to my prototype that's update style guide because I really like that idea. So my part of Behance, I just quickly added one state to my sharing flow. Okay. So once I've shared with this subscribe idea, I really like what Danielle was saying, like, what if I updated it? Like, what if I made a change? I'm like, maybe I got some feedback. I know maybe it doesn't always happen on Behance, but I got some feedback, we'll just say. And then I'm like, I want to change that. So then I go back and change it to have the option to then update my style guide on Behance. So I just added that quickly. All right, back to Danielle.
Nice. All right, so I'm thinking through, okay, so I've now looked at their style guide. I want to subscribe to the style guide. And once I subscribe, I guess we're going back into XD.
Yeah. Right? Do you want to open up my file and just grab?
Yeah, that's
really
what I want to do.
Do that.
Is it your style guide XD?
Yes.
No, it's not.
No, not that one. It's called Style Guide Project because we didn't give it a name yet.
Oh, okay. Wait, it's not Style Guide XD. Which one is it?
Not synced.
SP?
No.
Oh, no, it's not synced.
Style Guide Project. Oh, it's not synced yet. We're having some internet connections here. Wouldn't it be great if we could just collaborate on this in real time?
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah, open question right there.
Just gonna leave that out there. I'm just gonna leave it floating out there.
Just put it on a sticky note, post it just in case.
Put it in the parking lot on the side. We'll see. Okay.
Okay.
Ship it to Andrew
Shorten. I want this guy.
Yeah.
Grab that for mine. Just gonna paste it in.
There you go. So we got some placeholder XD UI.
Yep.
There's a code name. Talinel.
Talinel. Do we like
we have
Talimoto?
Oh yeah, Talimoto.
Or
Talinel.
I don't know. Those are pretty good. Do we need something that's more descriptive of our I don't know. That's not bad though. I don't know. Let's see. Let's sit with it. Let's sit with it. Maybe the chat will come to some consensus. Style-fi?
Okay.
Style? Yeah, that's not bad.
Project Flare, Project Taylor.
Ooh. Flare. I like Flare.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It makes me think of Office Space. This is my pieces of flair. All right. Okay. So you're downloading. So let's maybe put you're the designer. You've gone to the Behance page. You've subscribed. You've opened up XD. Did you open up the style guide, or do you have another design that you're kind of working on already? Like, how does the style guide show up?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I think it'd be interesting if it showed up in a way that wasn't just the file there, because I think it's still a manual thing. If I open it up and it looks like the same file that person just worked on,
it would be more like a UI kit in a way, you know, like.
I think of it as even like we have this assets panel here now, right, with the colors and styles. Like if you could have a section before that, right, like a layer before that where it's different people's styles or like style guides in that. So you have the one that you're working on within here, but you have ones that you're subscribed to as well. Like that would be interesting, and you could sort of see the people that you've subscribed to their style guides and like click within there. Could be interesting. So maybe I'll play with that.
Okay.
So let's see, Martin. Basic things you should know as an XD designer, UX designer. Sorry. Yeah, I think empathy is I think one of our key skills. I think you probably hear that a lot, but like being able to sort of put yourself in the shoes of the user, or the be a really good listener. So when you go out there and you're actually talking directly with users, and in our case, the designers, really being interested in what it is they're trying to achieve. And then I think you need good communication skills. That's a really key thing. You need, I think, design. You need some visual design skills and some skills with both with sort of drawing, sketching as we kind of started our process, but also just using some of the basic tools. That's a good foundation. I think. I don't know, Mike. Would you say anything else in there?
Yeah, and I mean that's what you study, but some fundamentals of graphic design. Yeah.
Typography. Layout.
Exactly. And then just be passionate about studying the user experience of all the mobile apps that you like. Trying to understand, okay, why do I like this experience? Why I find this app easy to use, and maybe start documenting everything. Just to build some knowledge also. Yeah.
So Anish and Martin are asking whether is it good to learn like a code framework. I think that's on a case-by-case basis. I think some designers have really thrived in getting in there and learning, say, HTML and CSS, or having some kind of knowledge of iOS development. I think those are good skills to have, because you want to be kind of aware of the possibilities, right? You kind of you want to have an idea of like, okay, what can we do? So you want to know a little bit of the rules, but then you also want to know just enough so that you still feel like you could break them.
Yeah,
I think that's one thing that I always really value.
Working with developers, I mean, developers are weird. We all know that, trying to understand the language always helps. But today, I think I would because like 15 years ago, which language should I learn? Because with web technologies, it was so limited. But today, you can do so much with HTML, JavaScript, and CSS.
Yeah, you can.
And it's so easy to learn.
Yeah,
I will start with that.
That's always a good starting point.
Yeah, more than native, because learn how to build a native mobile app. Yeah, there are some frameworks, but I will start with web technologies. It's a very good introduction to coding. Yeah.
Kamal, you had an interesting. I really like what Danielle's working on here with the sort of the. I always like when things are very visual. Yeah. Kamal, UI and UX, I think those are two terms that like I wasn't really clear of when I first joined Adobe.
Okay.
Again, I kind of came from a more like studio design background. I don't want to say they're not people. Some people think of them as really separate, but again, you know, one of the things that I think we like to do here at Adobe is think about it as kind of one holistic experience. That there's you know, like the user flow, and we're kind of defining some of that early here, but you know, the visual layer of information that goes on top of that is as important as well. And I think we like to find a balance between that, and again, and approach it in a very holistic way. And I think that's something a little different here at Adobe, is that the designers are really, again, trying to solve it from a kind of holistic standpoint, rather than saying, oh, I'm gonna, you know, work on just the UX part, or I'm just gonna work on just the UI. We really try and, I think, kind of foster a more holistic set of approach, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm thinking now is I might want to have a section that's your like subscribed style guides, right? So you just sort of have your style guide, and then you have like subscribed style guides down here.
Okay.
Nice, I like that. Let's see, what problems, challenges do we face as UI and UX designers? I think scale is the biggest one, and again, like
when you build an app for
yeah,
people, you mean?
Well, I just think like the scale of the problems that we're solving with UX and UI design, with experience design more broadly, is a problem of scale. Whether it's, you know, designing for tens, hundreds of screens, you know, a user experience that, you know, spans across, you know, that goes through all these different sort of flows within one app, or apps that go across different platforms. That's kind of one of the biggest challenges. Is just want to scale. I mean, and you take the scale of Adobe, like we think with our challenges, it's we're kind of on the like very complex end of that, but that's a big one. That's a big one. I think simplicity, right? Trying to make sure keep it simple. You saw a lot of things happen in the last few years where everybody had kind of moved to these UI and these navigation tools that were very contextual and very kind of hidden, disclosed from, like you kind of disclose them and kind of bring them on, you know, from the hamburger menus and all that. And you've seen many of the apps move away from that through user testing. Actually bring those options, not bury them underneath UI, but actually bring them forward again. Always on the screen. You know, so that's been really fascinating to watch the development of that. So. All right, so Danielle's got her design that she's been working on. Nice. Repeat grid. Love it.
Gotta get some repeat grid in
Yes,
there.
indeed. Yes, indeed.
Always.
All right, so she's got her design. She's like, it's just gray. It's kind of boring.
It's very gray right now.
So what's your next step? Do you've got it here? Do you select it and then
So I guess I'm thinking right now, like I have my own work that I would have on screen, right? Like we saw the style guide was like this big document with all these assets in it. I have my own work. Maybe that's, you know, what's going to be within this style guide, which is my own, but then I have these subscribed style guides, and maybe this is the style guide that I just subscribed to, and so I want to now apply that and take a look at what it would look like on top of my design. So I'm just going to copy, I think.
Maybe just before we have a question from Shirley, because she saw that you were using the repeat grid. She wants to know how you can go back to add a decorative line, but then the line is everywhere. Grid. Like maybe a line inside the box or below.
Yeah, so maybe I'll add a piece of text right underneath it.
Okay, so you just edit one item.
So I just edit this top one and add some text here, and you can see it applies just all the way across everything here.
I love that. It never, I get such a thrill out of that every time. Look at that. Just like, and it's just everywhere automatically.
Yep.
Just updates. Of course, the text can be different though, but we won't make Danielle go through and type them all different.
Different text.
Different text.
Looks good.
And it stays, the style stays synced, but the words are different. I love that. So good.
Great. So let's see. I want to now. I'm gonna go into my prototype for a second. I have like some of these things linked up in here.
Yep.
But I think I need to make sure that once I press the subscribe button. It's going over to the
Gonna launch XD.
Yep, launch XD. And then once I'm in XD, then I want to basically select this style guide. And once I select the style guide, we're going to go over to this prototype over here. So now I'd be within one of these style guides. I'm going to get rid of...
Oh, keep going, yeah. Alexander had a really interesting question, which is, so say you're designing in wireframes, which you can do kind of early on, and then you want to apply the style guide. Yeah, I think that's what we're kind of excited about. It's like, can it just like magically apply? I've been working in black and white or gray this whole time, and now I want to start adding some life to it, start applying some style rather than just the default. Yeah, I think that's a really cool idea. Let's see how that goes. Wild Gamut, we are not the guys from Digital Telepathy. They were on earlier.
They will be back live
They
tomorrow.
will be back live tomorrow.
At
Yep.
9 a.m. Pacific time.
We've been on for a while. We could reintroduce ourselves quickly.
Maybe,
Yeah. So I'm Talin Wadsworth. I'm the lead designer for XD, and my colleague, very talented colleague Danielle, is working furiously, but I'll let her.
Yeah, and I'm a designer on Adobe Design Lab team.
Yeah.
So the Design Lab team is about innovating through design or experimenting or...
Yeah, looking at what's next for Adobe, so 3 to 5 years out. It could be anything from a new product to hardware, software, a design pattern, sort of anything that's relevant to Adobe is game.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You may have seen Danielle last year on stage at Adobe Max at Sneaks.
Right.
Sneaks.
Yes, you may recognize her from this amazing demo, Project Layout.
Yeah, maybe you can find the mods if you can find the link to the video. It was a Max Sneak last year called Layout.
Great demo. I want all of those tools all the time. Martin had another question. Do UX designers create apps, or do they just solve the user experience concerns? So, it depends. I think that a UX designer who maybe has some coding abilities, they might be able to do it all themselves. But more than likely, again, I mentioned earlier to Anish that like we have this scale problem. Like it part of our job is really communication and collaboration, and so we work with here at Adobe. We're the design team, and we work with product team. So teams that are really focused on solving customer problems and looking at the market. But then we also work with engineers. So again, to bring something like XD to life takes a lot of people, right? And so again, part of our challenge is like as designers is to be able to communicate and to work very quickly and to again collaborate with many different stakeholders to see a product or an app really come to life and be out there and available and used by everyone. It's a big challenge, so. Yep. Wide gamut. I have some of my favorite colleagues. Some of my best friends here in Adobe were Swiss, based out of Basel. There's a lot of great stuff going on there. Yeah.
It's a huge
lot of great
team.
design, a lot of great interaction design happening there. So.
Yeah, this is what was the name of the company?
Day Software.
CQ5.
Yep.
And then a big office there.
Yep. All right. So Danielle, she's clicked on the style guide. This is.
So now I have clicked within a style guide.
All right.
Okay.
I have sort of now I'm looking at their colors and the style guide here, and I think the next step is basically to try and apply some of this to the design that I have, and then see sort of the two different options, sort of either side by side or what that looks like.
That could be cool if it kind of like split, like this panel went away, and then you just kind of saw these two.
Two different versions there.
Yeah. No problem, Martin. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Yeah.
We really,
Cool.
I love doing this. Is always so much fun.
It's late in Europe. I mean,
It is.
yeah,
It
it's
is.
cool there still away.
Yeah, it's great. We got great mods. The guys are on top of it. I think that's Danielle's. You guys should go. I think that YouTube link is Danielle. You should go check her out.
I don't know.
She looks great. Up there showing off her amazing project. It's
people.
great. Yeah, in front of that massive Max crowd.
Yeah, 10,000.
Yeah, that was Jordan Peele and Kim, my friend Kim Chambers up there on stage.
Yeah, Kim was
fun.
there.
Super fun. Did you guys hear the Radiolab podcast episode that featured?
Yeah,
What is it?
Yeah.
Max Sneaks. So this is a great podcast called Radiolab.
They
Actually featured that segment from last year's Max Sneaks with the not Danielle's, but with the audio manipulation.
Project Vocal.
Yeah,
Vocal,
yeah.
Right, yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. It was everywhere.
It was.
Not only on Radiolab. TechCrunch. It was everywhere. Yeah, it's amazing technology.
What other text should I choose? Would it be drastic enough?
Yes.
Change.
Go to birch would be creative. Black oak. Get really crazy.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Maybe that's a little too. Maybe that's a little too crazy. What did? Tyler was using Source Sans Pro in his. So if you got Source Sans, we want to be close. There you go. That'll be all right. That'll be good.
Source Sans.
So we got the side-by-side comparison. Very nice. So while you're doing that, I'm going to. I'm feeling. You like Flare, Danielle? You're like Talimoto.
It's definitely between those two.
I like Flare. I think we'll go with Flare. Okay, I'm gonna rename that, and I'm going to publish the first part of the workflow, and then as we start wrapping up, I'll paste your flow into this one.
That sounds good.
And then I'm gonna share our key workflow out here to make it get live out there to the world.
So one question is, when we've now clicked in within this style guide, the question is, okay, now I see all the colors of the character styles, whatever's in here. Do I want to apply all of those, or do I want to apply just part of that, right?
Wait, all of it seems like a cool, that's such a big...
feature.
Yeah. So I think normally if you just want part of it,
seconds.
you would just click on within one of these. So maybe we have some UI like a button that is sort of going to be so it applies to everything.
Maybe what you do is you click on it and it sort of takes you into this mode, and then you see it all applied, and then it's another, there's a compare button, and you hit the compare button, and then it shows them side by side.
Yeah. Or it has the little sort of divots down
here.
So
Tab
between them.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, I think I like that a lot. Okay, so I am going to publish. I'm going to create a link here for Project Flare.
So maybe I'll do.
Okay. So Michael, can I Slack that over to you? You have Slack up?
Yeah, I'm on
All
Slack.
right. So I've hit my share button up here, and I've published a link, and now I'm gonna share that with Michael. And he's going to get it out there to chat. I'm also gonna go tweet that too.
Use that? Yeah, okay, I got it. So I will put the link in the chat for our friends on Behance first. So you can leave comments. Just let us know, okay, how you feel about the prototype. There we go.
going to share this on Twitter so everyone can go check out the link there as well.
Make sure to add the Adobe Live hashtag.
I shall. Cool. All right. I shared it out there.
It's on Twitter
as well. Cool. All right, it's out there in the wild. All right. And remember, this is like one of the best parts is you can actually sign in and give us feedback directly on the prototype. So Benjamin, coming very soon, like in the next month or two, is a feature where you can actually toggle between point text and area text. It's actually been a highly requested feature on our user voice. And so if it's an area text, you can set the width and height of the box. But with point text, you can't. But in the next month or two, you'll be able to actually quickly toggle between those two states on any string of text. So that's very handy. So Benjamin coming very soon. And actually, as everybody starts like providing any comments, I'll see the alert through Creative Cloud app. Yep.
Wow.
Super cool.
Thor.
Look at that. Synergy.
Yeah, I will add a comment.
Excellent. Oh look! Oh, look at that. That's very nice.
We'll see. So
let's check it out.
Let's make sure we're hooked up here,
Yeah,
and then we can take a look. Let's see. Click on the style guide, bring that up, and start to see the colors and the character styles within. We want to apply it to this selected artboard, so maybe I'll select it. And then once you hit apply, you'll see those changes, but then you have these two options, and then you could toggle between them and sort of see which one you like.
Nice.
So
all right, let's check it out.
Take a look.
Okay, so here
starting over in Behance.
We're on Behance.
We have our style guide that someone has posted. Take a look at it. You can see the full view.
Very nice.
I can subscribe to that style guide, and then it brings me into XD. I have my own work that I have started here, and so this is my own style guide, but I have some subscribed style guides, and so this is the one that I brought in, so I'll click on that, and now it expands and I can see all the colors and character styles within, and I want to apply it to my work. So now I'm put into this mode where I can sort of see and toggle between what I had before and these new styles that are applied to this piece.
This is really great. I think. What if do we need to hit apply? Is kind of the first question I got.
That's the one part I'm stuck on. As well.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Let's go with it. Let's see what the stream thinks.
Yeah.
You know, I think we've been, as we talk about process, like, it's good to figure these parts out early. And I think that's kind of one of the things that I really appreciate about being able to work in kind of low fidelity and work very quickly, is just to be able to test out these ideas right before I get all dialed in on like every little detail.
Like these are really rough right now.
Yeah.
And then we go in and clean everything up later, like stylize it nicely. But like the story is like what we're trying to figure out. And so I think it's like a question of, does this part make sense? Like I'm a little stuck on like applying it. Depends, like, for me I was thinking it's a specific artboard, in which case I might need to apply, versus maybe if I just want it
it's like the whole
across
document.
Everything, it just does it.
Yeah, it
or
just
something.
does it. Yeah. I mean, I like
maybe it's more applied to artboard, but
I think both is valid. I think you'd probably want to be able to do both. You know, just like see that magical transformation of your work, or to be able to sort of pinpoint and say, I'm not ready for the whole thing yet. I just want to try it here. I think both work, Yeah. So maybe we'll see what everybody thinks. I think it's, like it's a really good, it's getting a really good point there. So nice. That's looking good.
Let's do a little toggle back to the old one and show that.
Yeah. Let's see any other. Kamal, the assets panel need a redesign for XD. Have Kamal, has anyone tried the recent updates where we added global color and character styles? Was just a few weeks ago. Yeah, it was August, the August update.
End of August, yeah.
Yeah. Anybody tried it out? Any feedback?
Yeah, any feedback on the new assets panel?
Yes, yeah.
From August.
So
there are so many names. Nice style, rebel style.
So Kamal, if you can always reach me at Mr. Talin on Twitter. That's probably the easiest way. Report me. Oh no. I gave away the Adobe secrets. No. Adobe jail for me. Yeah, Benjamin, you like global colors? I live with this panel open, I must say.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of become like the hub of my workflow.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, thank you.
We have a query from the community. Share the prototype. Maybe you can watch that.
Oh, let's check it out.
Prototype made with Adobe XD. Okay. And I think this is about query actually. So I can tell.
Oh, all right.
So you can do.
That looks like a little Adobe Illustrator live trace action.
Yeah. Or maybe using a capture.
Capture? Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, here and do logos. Yeah. It's a good ad. 3D print series. Okay. So tomorrow, our friends from Telepathy, they will design a website. So
yes.
More in this format, using scrolling and stuff. So make sure to watch. Okay, we'll be back at 9 a.m.
Yeah, definitely. So did we see any other app? Was it the store app? The
shopping app, yeah.
Shopping app.
So Corey was making shopping for himself in this case. To make sure we can use his services. We have Ryan. Okay, a secret sentence meant simple. Choose your network. Okay, pick this one. Speak a friend. Shuffle. Start shopping. Okay, you can start shopping.
Oh.
With Adobe Stock. Okay.
Oh, there you go.
You gotta do it over and over again.
No flex. I can go back. Okay. Can I scroll?
Oh, there you go.
Ryan. Okay, where should it go now? Purchase,
man.
Maybe. No.
No, the snowflake. Can we click on snowflake? No?
I tried, but... Okay. Maybe I... Okay.
You
you had to select it and then purchase. There we go.
I see. Oh, 5 cookies. Wow. To Cindy. Okay.
Oh, nice.
Hey.
Like went through like the whole, even like the little
The full-
options. That's see, look at that.
Good job.
And with Adobe Stock,
Yeah. Very good.
hitting all the bases. I like it. Nice.
Okay, let's get back to work.
So Danielle, where are we at with our with this the subscribe?
Let's walk this again from
Let's
once
do it.
you're
In the app.
back in the app.
Okay.
So you're in the app. You're gonna click on your subscribe style guides. You're gonna click on one. See all of your colors and styles. We can talk about how we feel about applying, but
Yeah, you guys, the chat, let us know what you think about that.
yeah, and then once you apply, you can see, okay, now this is what it looks like with all the different character styles and some color applied to it. And this is my older version, so maybe I want to tap back and sort of look at the differences between them, and then I can pick sort of one or the other to go forward with.
Yeah, yeah. Nice. See this like crazy meta problem that we're solving. Like, you made a character style out of that character style, and then you can just select the text inside the repeat grid and apply the character style that's inside of your fake character style panel.
Yeah, there's some weird inception happening
Yes,
here
it's
with
so
looking
weird.
at
It's
these
so
right
strange.
now.
So strange. I love it though. I love it.
Like, wait, which one am I using?
So Kamal, he's taking up this challenge and he's going to solve this problem.
Okay.
On it. All right, I can't wait. I want to see it.
Yeah.
Definitely. Like I said, this is like a collaboration with everyone here. So yeah. Yeah, like I said, we'd love to see your take on this. Again, like this problem of being able to sort of share and subscribe to style guides. I think we're gonna keep going further on this. We talked about, kind of get back to our diagram here, right? So we wanted to publish our style guide in XD, like from XD, and our style guide is color and text styles and symbols like icons and logos, possibly even like images that I'm using. And I want to be able to publish that out to my Behance portfolio, or sorry, the project page, because portfolio is something else.
It
we
is,
should talk about
yeah.
that another time. But then, so it's out here on Behance, and then I want to be able to, basically have anyone who comes to my project page be able to subscribe to that style guide, see it directly in XD, and then kind of do all these things we were sort of talking about. I want to, be able to try some new ideas, maybe see my design kind of be able, have that style applied to it really quickly. I maybe want to learn how the Tyler who shared his style guide online already, like how he built his style guide, and then I want to be able to sort of just try out new ideas and maybe even fork and branch some ideas. So I think it's a good start.
It's a good start.
Yeah.
Do you want me to share these over with
Yeah,
you? Maybe we'll just put all of our flow together and we can look at sort of where we are right now.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Save that one, and then I'll just open it up and copy and paste it in. There we go, Behance workflow. We'll give that a sec to go up. I'm just gonna do a little organizing here. So here we have.
That's up in.
All right, cool. I always like to just add some quick labels here. You see, I'm always working with this character style panel open. So that's our publish workflow, and then I'm gonna do our subscribe.
We just received a new prototype.
Oh,
Someone saying just playing with Adobe XD, so I guess it's a first. So that's cool.
We'd love to see that.
And that's by Glue. So it's called Hair Therapy Bringing on Today. And he did several inspirations. Like you select the mood. I take this.
Oh, I love that.
Maybe this one. Yo.
Yeah.
Like
Afrolicious. Oh, nice. Fonzie.
Ah,
Happy days. Low and slow. Okay, I will book it. Nice and clean. Thanks, XD.
Oh, that's great.
Wow.
Yep.
Great
Good
illustration
job.
style. I love that.
Those illustrations are awesome.
It's a very nice shopping experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good job.
Kamal's got some great ideas. So I mean, I think discovery, right, is a big part of any designer's process, right? Like being able to sort of again like try out new ideas. I always felt sometimes when I was working in like kind of working in some of these other applications, it would take so much work to try something different, because then I'd have to, maybe if I made the wrong move or I did something I didn't like, I'd have to undo a bunch of times, or I'd have to think ahead. And what's been most exciting about XD is just being able to work so quickly, try new ideas so fast, and then be able to see something new, but knowing that I can always just get back right to where I was, right? Because you want to be able to see things and discover new ideas, and the faster you can sort of just design, the more you can see, the more you can get feedback on, and I think the better your design is in the end, So, all right, so I pasted in that flow, and now I'm gonna paste in. So that's the subscribe workflow, and then this is going to be the apply workflow. Okay, paste that in there. Go here. Okay, so I'm gonna hop over to prototype mode. So that's the end of that flow. So now I want to go to our Behance flow, and that's, let's see, is that all wired up there? Okay, so I go. Oh, that's right. We didn't go to. We actually skipped that one. I think that's a good idea. Maybe we'll just skip that one. We'll just go to that one, and then from here, there, to there. Okay. And then I'm gonna try that one. I'm gonna hit apply to that, and then we hit toggle to that one. That. Okay, and then just to make sure this all gets nicely rounded off, I'm just going to drag that back to the home artboard. So this is one I kind of skipped over earlier, but you see this little blue tab here in prototype mode, this marks your home screen. So this is where your prototype link will always start from. So this is where we start our journey in XD, but if I wanted to sort of start it maybe somewhere else, I could always just select that artboard and just click that little gray tab there on the side and actually change my home artboard. So now my prototype will always start from that artboard. So I'm just gonna go reset that. Okay, so now that I have this all wired up, I'm gonna go back to my share icon, and I'm gonna hit share again. So now I'm gonna basically just update that same link that Michael pasted out to the chat, and
I would paste it again.
Yep. So I'm just gonna update. So again, I've been able to sort of keep working on my prototype and then update it. So now everyone that I've sent it to, they'll still be able to go right back to that prototype and see the latest changes, which is very handy. It's kind of like, you know, how our team has been working is, you know, like we'll have a designer working on a feature, and even as early as possible in the process, they'll have a share link. And then that link will get sent to our stakeholders and our collaborators, like our product managers, our engineers, and that's where the conversation starts, right? And then they start to provide feedback directly on that prototype, and the designer will just continue to sort of take that feedback, make the changes in XD, and then always update that same link. So we have this, you can just see this conversation happening through the life cycle of any development process of any of our features in XD, which has been, you know, just amazing for our process. So it's very exciting.
It's nice to all have it in sort of one place, one link.
Yeah, it is. So there it is. So Danielle, what are you working on right now? You've got kind of a cool project.
Yeah, right now I am working on a project called Project 1324.
Yeah.
Not 1, 2, 3, 4, but 1, 3, 2, 4, 1324. Yes, which is basically an initiative to support, amplify, and connect emerging creatives. So for people ages 13 to 24, hence the code name Project 1324. And so right now we have a website, and we have some really cool and interesting challenges, that you can start to engage with.
So if you're between the ages of 13 and 24, you come here, and so this is the site, and they just launched. You guys just launched this, just launched.
Yeah, it's
a few weeks ago.
We were in beta. We are still definitely working on a lot of new features and things like that, but right now we sort of have the bare bones of it, and so we have some challenges up that you can take a look at and sort of get inspired, look at other people's work, and start to create some work. And there's some really cool prizes for some of these challenges.
Oh, that's super cool.
Yeah.
Look at that. Like, so this one is called Split Image, and it says, basically it gives you a little prompt, and then it says, using any tools you want, you basically you bring two images together to tell a story.
Yeah, this one is basically take a look at, you know, how you can create a story with either two images or one image, but basically that has these two different sides to it. And so we have some sample content up right now. We just opened this one yesterday, actually. And yeah, that's a photo I took when I was in Japan.
Oh, yeah. I mean, talking about that contrast, right? Like that's really exciting. So
yeah, so we're trying to see, you know, like what are different people's takes on this similar idea. So it's sort of like a place to get started. Yeah, nice. And you can talk about, you know, it can be something lighter, it can be something that you really are passionate about, that you want to talk about.
Oh look, that's one of the, is that in Tokyo and then New York, side by side. Yeah. Almost, I for a second there didn't even know that was that.
Yeah, we just launched a challenge with Sundance that we partnered with Sundance, so that's up on there as well.
Nice.
Yeah, for Sundance Ignite. So
very cool.
Exciting.
Very cool.
So did you design the web experience first in XD and?
No, I wish we had.
Yeah, that's a really exciting project.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Like, I mean, I think, you know, one of the things that I think the reason why we all work here is that we just love being creative.
Yeah.
Like, we love fostering creativity. I mean, we're here building tools for everyone here in the chat to go out there and be creative, and seeing all your prototypes that you've made with XD, or seeing the projects that people are engaging around in challenges here on the site. I was like, that's pretty much why I love my job.
Yeah, it's exciting to work on a project. I mean, 1324 is interesting because I feel like we haven't necessarily tapped into the younger demographic, right? And like had a place for them to, you know, a place where we can support them or just like connect them together and have them tell their stories and make creative work and get feedback from each other and start to do some of that. So we're still in the process, but
very cool. Very cool.
Yeah,
very cool. Well, all right. So our prototype is out there on the web. So chat. Let's see. Is anybody? I know Michael's commented. Let me go see.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Look at Paul. Paul Tranny. What's that guy up to? Love it. It's good. Publish on Behance. Very nice, Michael. I like tying it all together. Very nice. Yeah. So again, like if anyone out there in the chat, if you follow the link to our prototype, Project Flare, and you leave a comment, you know, I publish the prototype. I'll see that show up right here.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I'll go and reply. You know, and resolve any. Maybe we'll take some of that feedback tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Maybe we'll address some of that feedback and then, you know, re-update the prototype. Yeah. So.
Because I mean, even as we were clicking through, like once I linked this up and had it in prototype mode, now I look at it and I think, oh, like now that I'm clicking through, there's a lot of clicks to kind of get to what I want a little bit as well. So like with this beginning, you know, I've had these in, like the first attempt was, okay, like maybe I have the original style guide and then I have to, I see my subscribed style guides. Maybe, you know, you're actually just looking at your assets within here, and one of these sections instead of symbols or character styles is subscribed style guides,
like
right?
Like
just a different bucket within that, so you don't have to, you know, sort of click within a couple of times, so it's less hidden. I don't know, that was just something that now that we hooked it up and we could go through, I'm like, like maybe it's taking too long to get to that point, right? So that is one of the advantages of being able to click through.
Yeah, right away.
Type up. Yeah.
I mean, that's a really great point. I think that, you know, like through that and like, yeah, because you want to see that visual hit like right away. You want to see that magic moment happen. You know, I always feel like those are the ones that really make an impact and people see something they hadn't thought of before, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, like is there a way to get to that moment a little sooner?
Yeah. Yeah.
Probably.
That's a good question. Nice. Very nice.
Okay, I think we have just 2 minutes. So you were talking about make an impact. So if you can see my screen, to share something. So if you go on the Behance experience, is b.net/live, behance.net/live. There is a contest tab, which is something when like you have a few days, and the campaign is make it impactful. Okay? And the goal is to use Adobe XD to create a landing page and explain how you make an impact. So it could be a website here, or you have some influencers explaining, like Marcelo Silvas explaining how he designed this landing page for a mobile app. But the prices are very good, so you can win like $750.
Wow.
You can win Creative Cloud subscriptions and also 1 hour mentoring with a UX designer, which is cool.
That's pretty cool.
And also, if you are one of the, because we had 4 campaigns. Yeah. We had Make It Impactful for photography, video, and motion, with Project Felix also, and with XD. And one of the winners would be picked to go to Adobe Max.
Awesome.
Max is gonna be great.
Yeah,
I'm so excited for Max. It's gonna be awesome.
And we will be live from Max. Okay, so yeah, you should come back.
Yes,
we'll be live from the community pavilion.
Indeed.
I'm sure there would be some new stuff with XD.
I'm sure there's probably
something.
Something. I don't know.
It would be cool.
Yeah. We're gonna change the icon to that emoji, that little XD emoji. That's what it is. I'll just spill it right now. That's the new icon. Is that little, you know, that little smiley face with the little triangle eyes.
Oh.
Do you know that? Yeah. When I would type XD on my phone and it would just automatically sort of correct to that emoji, which is kind of a fun little Easter egg.
Yeah, I like that.
Thanks, Adam. Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
It was really great.
We'll be back tomorrow with another feature
for Project Flare. We're going to continue on with Project Flare. We're going to try something new. I don't know. We can do another one. All right.
You want, you know.
All right. We'll think about that.
Yeah, we will think. Okay. Okay. Thanks, everyone. We'll be back tomorrow with Claude and Jessica from Telepathy. Okay, at 9 a.m. Pacific time.
9 a.m.
Yeah, that was very fun. Okay. Bye, guys.
Thanks,
Bye,
everyone.